From The Guardian on August 15th, 2024 comes this headline: "We should have better answers by now. Climate scientists baffled by unexpected pace of heating." Here's the subhead, quote, "The leap in temperatures over the past 13 months has exceeded the global heating forecasts. Is this just a blip or a systemic shift?" End quote. Here's the lead. Quote, "In a remarkably candid essay in the journal Nature this March, one of the world's top climate scientists posited the alarming possibility that global heating may be moving beyond the ability of experts to predict what happens next." End quote. The article then quotes Gavin Schmidt, director of the NASA Goddard Institute for Space Studies in New York. Schmidt replaced James E. Hansen in this role. Quote, "A warming planet is already fundamentally altering how the climate system operates, much sooner than scientists had anticipated." End quote. Either Schmidt is unfamiliar with the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change's report from nearly 6 years ago, or he is lying. After all, the IPCC's October 8, 2018 report, Global Warming of 1.5 degrees, concluded that Earth is in the midst of the most abrupt change in planetary history. Quote, "These global-level rates of human-driven change far exceed the rates of change driven by geophysical or biosphere forces that have altered the Earth system trajectory in the past. Even abrupt geophysical events do not approach current rates of human-driven change." The IPCC quotes 2 peer-reviewed sources in reaching this conclusion. A person in Schmidt's position is expected to know about the IPCC and the reports it produces. How he could reach this conclusion in the Guardian article is beyond me. Quote, "The 2023 temperature anomaly has come out of the blue, revealing an unprecedented knowledge gap, perhaps for the first time since about 40 years ago, when satellite data began offering modelers an unparalleled real-time view of Earth's climate system." End quote. As I indicated earlier, Schmidt indicated that if the anomaly does not stabilize by August, it would imply, quote, "that a warming planet is already fundamentally altering how the climate system operates much sooner than scientists had anticipated." End quote. Now that August has come and gone, Schmidt is less disturbed. According to The Guardian, quote, "What I am thinking now is we aren't that far off from expectations. If we maintain this for the next couple of months, then we can say what happened in late 2023 was more blippish than systematic. But it is still too early to call it. I am slightly less worried, but still humbled that we can't explain it." End quote. Schmidt really needs to catch up with his reading. Global warming of 1.5 degrees reported the very conclusion he is struggling to reach. According to Schmidt, monthly records were beaten last year by a surprising margin, sometimes more than 0.2 C. Quote, "We don't have a quantitative explanation for even half of it. That is pretty humbling. We should have better answers by now. Climate modeling as an enterprise is not set out to be super reactive. It is a slow, long process in which people around the world are volunteering their time. Yet we haven't gotten our act together on this question yet." End quote. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, warned that, quote, "Earth is becoming hotter and more dangerous for everyone, everywhere." End quote. Quick to employ wishful thinking, Schmidt said he hoped a clearer picture would emerge by the time of the American Geophysical Union meeting in December, when many of the world's top system scientists will gather in Washington, D.C. According to The Guardian, quote, "Temperatures above 50 C used to be a rarity confined to 2 or 3 global hotspots, but the World Meteorological Organization noted that at least 10 countries have reported this level of searing heat in the past year. The U.S., Mexico, Morocco, Algeria, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iran, Pakistan, India, and China." End quote. Referencing a question about passing the 1.5 C Rubicon while failing to point out that governments of the world have already agreed 2 C is behind us, Schmidt indicated we must eliminate carbon emissions as quickly as possible. Quote, "What should be motivating people is that with every 1/10 of a degree of warming, the impacts will increase. That is the fundamental equation. It doesn't matter where we are now, but we have to get to net zero. The faster that happens, then the happier we will be." End quote. Actually, that's grossly incorrect. The faster we get to net zero, the faster we lose aerosol masking. If you're looking for the fastest path to the extinction of all life on Earth, that's it. Is Schmidt a fan of extinction, or is he ignorant about climate science? I'm not sure which is worse. Amazingly, I agree with Schmidt with respect to the final 2 paragraphs in the Guardian article. Quote, at times he acknowledged that his work puts him in a bind because as a scientist he wants his forecasts about global heating to be accurate, but as a human he would rather they proved an overestimate. End quote. Schmidt is quoted directly in the final paragraph. Quote, we would all rather be wrong than right on this. That is the one thing that skeptics don't understand. End quote. It's not only skeptics who disagree with me and also defame me. It's almost everyone, including Schmidt. The designed to fail IPCC has concluded Earth is amid abrupt, irreversible climate change. Apparently, I'm one of the very few people who understands what this means for life on the planet. I'd rather it not be so. After all, I'm a fan of life on the only planet known with certainty to currently have life. With respect to extinction of human animals, a line comes to mind from professor and science educator Carl Sagan. In his 1994 book, Pale Blue Dot, A Vision of the Human Future in Space, Sagan wrote, quote, our posturing, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. End quote.